Hey guys, welcome back to Closet MTG, and today guys, we finally got the long-awaited EDH deck tech. At least from my perspective, long-awaited. I've been building this deck for the past month or so, and I have made some changes and had some delays, unfortunately, with some cards that I had purchased online. I actually had to send a card back, unfortunately, but that's all resolved now, guys, and the way we're going to do this video today is very similar to some of my previous EDH deck techs. This time I don't have it structured. It's more just freeform. Literally, I played with the deck on Friday for the first time, or last Friday for the first time, and the deck performed really well. It was only one game, but I pretty much got to do everything I wanted to do, short of some of the combos, although, I'm really not a big fan of the combos, to be honest with you. I'd rather win in some other fashion, especially with my play group. Anyway, though, guys, let's see what we're looking at for today. And without any further delay, guys, Nethroi, Apex of Death, baby. Actually, this isn't even the card I use. I use Biollante, Plant Beast Form from Ikoria. So we got the Godzilla alternate art. This is my commander, guys, and what this guy does is for mutate. First of all, he's a cat nightmare beast, and has the mutate 7, 2 black and a green or a white ability, death touch and lifelink. And whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So just think of all the craziness you guys can do, from either enter the battlefield triggers, filling up your graveyard, or sacrifice triggers, death triggers. There's a lot of different shenanigans that you can do with this thing, guys. And that's sort of the flavor of this deck. It's not it's not sort of focused in one specific area. It sort of covers everything, and also has some cards that are just fun. Cards that I wanted to play and try out, that I'll probably at some point I'll switch out for, maybe I'll sort of adjust to how my play group goes. I'm sure that's how a lot of you guys sort of build your decks. It's based off of your play group and what's fun within your play group for your friends and so forth. But that being said, guys, like I said, this deck these cards are not in any specific order. I actually have another deck box here, since the cards were just recently sleeved. So yeah, guys, we're going to go through it. I'm going to put out the cards all side by side. We'll list them out, and yeah, have some fun. Talk about what's in this deck. We'll get to all the shenanigans, from the land base to filling up the graveyard. Let's take out what's in here as well. And yeah, guys, we'll get started just off the top here, and we'll start creating these piles and talking about the cards. So we got Agadeem's Awakening, guys. Since, again, guys, we're trying to fill up our graveyard, or we are filling up our graveyard for the most part, to take advantage of Nethroi, his mutate trigger. So in some cases, if Nethroi has died a few times and we just need to get something on the board, having Agadeem's Awakening as a good backup, I felt was definitely a necessity. Put that in our land pile. Undergrowth Stadium, again, just a solid land base, because it's 3 colors, so we're going to have those Battle Bond lands, or now Commander Legends lands. So we got Underground Stadium, Temple Garden, again, just shock lands, got some swamps, and now Sanctum Weaver. So this is a card, guys, I just wanted to play. Like I mentioned, if some of you guys have watched my Modern Horizons 2 openings, I'm speccing highly on this card. My data's going to be reprinted for a little while, and I just feel like it's a potential solid commander staple. Not quite as powerful as the Bloom Tender, but still, has the ability to be, in the same stratosphere. And we saw Bloom Tender. The price of that card, before it was reprinted in the mystery booster, it was $40-50. I know personally, because I bought one when it was that price. That being said, guys, so Sanctum Weaver, got Grim Backwoods, again, just another sack outlet on a land. We got our Scrub land for our dual land, a little revised Scrub. Gigan, Cyberclaw Terror, or Gyruda, Doom of Depths. This was like a last-minute addition to this deck, guys. It's just fun. It's just fun. Again, it allows us to mill to put cards in our graveyard. Also, we can recur a creature that's in our graveyard with even converted mana cost, or again in an opponent's graveyard, which is pretty cool. So yeah, definitely just a fun card, and I thought it would be a fun addition to see. I didn't get to play it yet, but just to see how it would work in this type of build. Mirari's Wake, since as you can see, I mean, the mutate ability on Nethroi, well, first of all, multicolored, so this sort of gets rid of like the getting mana screwed and so on. And then also just like you can see with Nethroi Apex of Death or Plant Beast Form version, the mutate ability can cost a lot, guys. So I mean 7 mana is quite a lot. So yeah, so and obviously we have the commander tax and so forth we have to pay every time it dies. So having a lot of mana is also very important. That's our first enchantment. We have a little Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. So this is actually our one of my Ultimate Masters box topper version. I've been pleasantly surprised with the price of this card. It's gone up quite a bit recently, as it's seen a lot of play with now that Cabal Coffers has been reprinted and so on. So Urborg, and we got 3 visits for some ramp. So for our first sorcery, guys. So we'll keep track of our sorceries over here. And we got our Lotus Cobra, just solid ramp. High Market, Sack Outlet, and a land, Nurturing Peatland. For more of our dual lands. Opposition Agent, yeah, I mean, I don't, again, I had not played with Opposition Agent yet, guys, in any of my previous commander builds or even in Modern and so on. I just wanted to try it out, you know? I mean, you could probably fill this, I mean, it's a powerful card. It's seeing a lot of play in Commander. You could probably put something else in this deck, but it's just a fun card I wanted to play, and you know, it'd be nice to sort of screw somebody up when they go for a fetch or when they're using a demonic tutor or something like that. So it's I haven't had the ability to play it yet in this particular build, but yeah, excited for when that happens. So we got Opposition Agent, Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Yeah. Again, you're going to see that, well, you've already seen there's some sack outlets in this deck, guys, so being able to sack and then bring it back right away for Undying. Actually, there's an infinite combo that's in this deck that Mikaeus plays a big part in. And it's just a powerful card, too. I mean, giving all your creatures or non-human creatures Undying, I mean, it's just to allow for potential multiple sacks and triggers and so forth. Yeah, cool card. This was one of the cards that took forever to come in the mail, guys, so blame this card on the delay. Knight of the Reliquary. Yeah, I mean, typically, guys, we're going to have a lot of cards in our graveyard. Sometimes those are lands, so being able to play like a 3-mana 2/2 that gets +1/+1 for each land in your graveyard. Yeah, powerful effects, and we also have some fetch lands, as you'll see in this build as well. And being able to search up any type of land to put on the battlefield, I mean, that's a pretty powerful ability as well. So yeah, just an overall powerful card. And here we got the Time Spa Remaster box topper that we've opened on this channel. Okay, Bastion of Remembrance, and this is like our first drain card. So again, like whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So yeah, so obviously we're going to be like, it's part of this deck is, or part of the strength is, one of the functions of this deck is being able to sack your own creatures and cause a lot of triggers to occur from that. So Bastion of Remembrance allows us to tax our opponents when this happens. So yeah, I think there are some other options too that could be played instead of this, but it's a newer card. Wanted to give it a shot. Played with it a few times in Standard, in various builds, and yeah, I wanted to make sure it found a home in this Commander build. The Troll, we got the Troll for Dredge. It's pretty much it about the Troll. Godless Shrine. So we got our, again, some shock lands for mana base. Here's another tax card, or Corpse Knight. I actually have the misprinted version here, guys. As you can see, this is actually supposed to be a 2/2, but at release for Core 20, or M20, there was a mistake. And actually, since I remember at my pre-release event, I drafted this card, like I guess in that initial first wave that was sent to LGSs and so on. So yeah, it's a 2/3, but I mean, it has our, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, so through our Nethroi mutate ability, each opponent loses 1 life, so another tax ability. Chrome Mox, mean, sort of self-explanatory. Powerful artifacts, mana base, helps our mana. Viscera Seer. Okay, Viscera Seer, another sack outlet, involved in an infinite combo in this deck. Yeah, just another way to sack our creatures. It's a 1 power creature, so it's easy to get back with Nethroi if we need it. We can scry and so forth to search our library. Yeah, solid card. Got Dryad Arbor, creature, land. Yeah, just powerful card that we can pull from Nethroi, and it can count as a land and so on. Yeah, and it's free, so cool card. Sanctum of Eternity. First time playing, actually did not know about this card up until recently, but again, being able to return our commander at instant speed. Actually, you can only activate during your turn, but still, I mean, if something targets your commander during your turn, you can return it, protect it, just by triggering the 2 and tap ability. Yeah, so interesting card for commander. Again, have not used it yet, but excited for when I can pull it off. Life and Death, guys. This is definitely some old school Apocalypse here, man. There's probably better cards than this that could at least fulfill the death ability, to the graveyard recursion ability. But I just wanted to, again, try something different, try something. I mean, again, this card is from my first stint playing Magic the Gathering, back in like Mercedia Masks and Nemesis and obviously Apocalypse days, so it's like an older card. But yeah, definitely sort of fulfills some of the requirements of this deck, from the graveyard recursion and also getting a bunch of lands onto the battlefield and so on. That's a sorcery. Okay, we got Buried Alive to search up our graveyard, or search our library for some creature cards, put them in our graveyard for Nethroi. It's pretty much an obvious fill from my perspective. Now we have our Anime Dead. So here's our graveyard recursion. Any creature, and I'll read this card to you guys, any creature in any graveyard comes into play on your side with a -1 to its original power at the end of the game. At the end of game, or if this enchantment is discarded without removing target creature from play, target creature is returned to its owner's graveyard. Target creature may be killed as normal. God, the wording on this. And it's an enchant dead creature, guys, which is pretty cool. But yeah, being able to scoop out a creature from any graveyard and bring it into play into your control. Powerful ability. Revelark. Revelark is in a bunch of infinite combos in this deck. For those who are unaware, I mean, this card, really the main ability leading to the infinite combo is when it leaves the battlefield, or when Revelark leaves the battlefield, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 less from a graveyard to the battlefield. So we can see how this combos with another card to create an infinite loop, essentially, or potential infinite loop, essentially. So definitely a given in this deck. Village Rites. Again, we're trying to sack outlet, or need a sack outlet, and also some ability to draw cards. So Village Rites, put that in our instant sorcery spot. And a Bayou. Actually just got this specifically for the deck, guys, especially with duels being as they are. This is pretty much a near mint to mint Bayou from Revised. I did check it. It is real, guys. It's one thing I've been doing recently. I've been checking all my Revised duels and older cards. Because actually, if you look at the... see if I have a card here for you guys. Let me take this out of the sleeve. One thing I didn't realize is if you have like a magnifying glass, like with powerful magnification, if you look at the green dot, there should be, to tell that it's real, or the card, one of the checks you can do to tell that it's real is there should be like 4 small red dots on that green dot, that in the shape of an L. And if it's not like that, then you can tell you got hosed. I'm just going to keep this out for now because I got to, it's tough to put the sleeves on. But anyway, guys, I've been checking that. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. It's one way to check, make sure your Revised duels or your older cards are real. That being said, guys, we'll keep on moving with the video. So we got Demonic Tutor. This is the Mystery Booster version. So I actually was lucky enough to pull this in a Mystery Booster pack for our sorcery. So put that in our instant sorcery slot. I'm going to put this Chrome Mox here at the end, guys. Make a little space. Just bear with me 1 second. We're going to start putting piles on top of each other. Okay, now I got the Underrealm Lich. Again, just a fun card. Again, if being able to draw, or when you draw 3 instead, and then you can fill your graveyard. You can give him indestructible by paying 4 life. I mean, it's a powerful card. I mean, maybe a little bit pricey on the mana cost and the 4 power in terms of being a target for Nethroi, but it does what the deck is trying to do, you know, which is fill up your graveyard, being able to do like a big Nethroi, and then once everything's in play, having sack outlets to tax your opponents and so forth with, well, you'll see there's another card, but similar cards, the Bastion of Remembrance or the Corpse Knight and so on. Or Blood Artist, which we'll get to in the beginning in a bit. I'm sure you guys were expecting Blood Artist to be in this deck as well. Just a fun card. Now we got the Altar for a sack outlet, ways to create infinite mana. Mothra Supersonic Queen, baby. So this is Luminous Broodmoth from Ikoria. Really, I mean, this is, again, just having more sack outlets. So when you sack, you get the stack, the trigger goes on the stack, and the creature comes back in play. You can sack it again. So you can essentially double your sacrifice or stack triggers and so on. And again, just card that I did not play with much in Standard. I wanted to find a deck for it in Commander, and yeah, this is the deck I thought it would be fun to play in. So I'm testing this guy out. Got Karmic Guide. Good, Karmic Guide is involved with some infinite combos, and why that's the case is because when it enters the battlefield, you can return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's that Echo cost, which comes into play the next turn, but you can sack Karmic Guide, get it in your graveyard, and so on. So, or you can just not pay it and have it just go to your graveyard and so on. So, but yeah, Karmic Guide, definitely a must-have in these Nethroi builds, in my opinion, just for all the flexibility amongst combos and so on. And you're always going to have creature cards in your graveyard, really, because, again, that's really what the deck is trying to do, is fill up your graveyard and have some fun with that. Got a Cabal Therapy. Again, just a flavor card here, guys, really. I mean, there is the flashback cost of sacrificing a creature. I mean, that's pretty... I mean, again, it's another way to sacrifice creatures and get the triggers from the sacrifice and so on, or triggers from like the death, or fill up the graveyard and so on. But then also being able to, look at the target player's hand if you already know. I mean, sometimes in Commander it's easy to know what your opponents have, either through like having to reveal or so on. And you have multiple targets. So when you name that non-land card, typically, I mean, you have an opportunity, like a higher probability to guess something that they're going to have to discard. So Cabal Therapy, so a fun one. So we got some lands here, guys. Oh, here we go. Here's another one, guys, that I recently purchased specifically for this build. We got a real Academy Rector from, what, I think this is Urza's Destiny, is it? I always mix up Urza's Destiny and Legacy. I think it's Destiny. But yeah, Academy Rector. So whenever Academy Rector is put in a graveyard from play, you can remove it from the game. And if you do, search your library for an enchantment card and put it directly into play. So in terms of the power, it's low, but I mean, if it ends up in your graveyard by some other means, and then you can just, for 1 of the 10 power from Nethroi, or from Plant Beast form, you can, again, get this guy into play on the cheap, sack it, and search for an enchantment. Next thing you know, you have like an Animate Dead, Mirari's Wake, a Bastion of Remembrance, or some other powerful enchantments directly put into play. So definitely a nice combo piece. It's Academy Rector. All right, guys, this is a card that I wanted to play, you know. I mean, it's fun, you know, it's the fun card, that being Deadbridge Chant. For those who don't know about Deadbridge Chant, enters the battlefield, put the top 10 cards of your library in your graveyard. That's just fun, you know, just putting the top 10 cards of your library in your graveyard. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature card, put it in the battlefield. If not, put it in your hand. So you get some card advantage from your graveyard. And it's just, there's that random aspect of it. You don't know what you're going to get. I really like that aspect of Commander. So I definitely want to make sure this enchantment found a home. So it's very cool. Protean Hulk. Protean Shake, Protean Hulk, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, whenever Protean Hulk is put in a graveyard from play, search your library for any number of creature cards with converted mana cost 6 or less, and put them into play. But total converted mana cost 6 or less. So a combination of mana cost of 6 or less and put them into play. And then shuffle your library. Yeah, I mean, if you can recur this guy from Nethroi or find another way to get him onto the battlefield, instead of paying the 7 mana, you sack him, and then he hits the graveyard. Yeah, you can then search up total of mana cost 6 or less, put him into play. Yeah, powerful card, definitely a must-have in these Nethroi Apex of Death builds. All right, we got a little Visions action here, guys. Some Necromancy. Here we go. You may choose to play Necromancy as an instant. If you do, you can bury it at the end of turn, so you can use this as like at haste speed, essentially. And when it does, or instant speed, so when you play Necromancy, choose target creature card in any graveyard, so opponent's graveyard as well. When Necromancy comes into play, put the creature card in play as over just played, and Necromancy becomes a creature enchantment, and put that on, and then you put Necromancy on that creature. And then if Necromancy were to be destroyed, then you get rid of the creature, it goes back in its owner's graveyard. That being said, guys, yeah, I mean, again, we're going to be filling up our graveyard, being able to recur some powerful cards, get the battlefield triggers and so on, pluck something from an opponent's graveyard as well, and the ability to play this at instant speed too. And damn, look at this artwork. It's just a really cool card, guys. I love it. There's some flavor for this card. Just definitely want to make sure it found a home in this deck. Hunting Grounds, guys, do I have a story for you with this card. This card is so underrated in my opinion, especially in this build. Holy hell, guys. Let me explain what happened. So the one game that I was playing on Friday with this deck, my God, like, so essentially what happened is, I mean, I had my graveyard, I had Threshold pretty quick. And for those who know what Threshold is, you need to have, like, as long as there's 7 or more cards in your graveyard, then you have Threshold. And what this enchantment does is when you have Threshold, whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may put a creature card from your hand into play. So essentially what happened is I had Threshold, and then an opponent in the game I was playing used a Cyclonic Rift. And I had like 10 creatures on the board. Every creature went back to my hand. And then the next turn, the first thing I played was Hunting Grounds. And it's like, okay, guys, well, now every time you play a spell, I'm just going to put a creature into play for free. So yeah, Hunting Grounds, fun card. Ended up working perfectly again in the game in the one game I've played so far with this deck. Yeah, it's underrated. I forget what set that's from. I think it's like Torment or Judgments. I think it's Judgment. But yeah, I remember playing like way back when this deck card was in Standard, or was it Type 2 back then? I think it was Type 2. Having a deck that focused on Threshold and Hunting Grounds. I think I had 3 or 4 copies in that deck, so it was cool to be able to bring this back and play with it in this current build. So fun card, Hunting Grounds, check it out. Stinkweed Imp, the Dredge ability, and then the Death Touch ability. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Fill up our graveyard, guys. I'm going to start going on top of these creatures here. World Shaper, again, because sometimes we're going to get lands indirectly put in our graveyard. We have fetch lands, and whenever World Shaper attacks, again, you can mill, put cards in your graveyard, and then when it dies, you put all lands from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. So it's an easy way to fix your mana and get a bunch of mana real quick. World Shaper. Esper Sentinel, I'm sure, yeah, not much really to say about this. This is white Rhystic Study, essentially, for non-creature spells. So, yeah, did you pay the 1? Toxic Deluge, yeah, just all creatures get -X. This is my one and only board wipe. I wanted to have a board wipe that didn't exile, but found a way to get by indestructible, and that's what this does. So, yeah, Toxic Deluge, powerful card. Survival. Okay, here's a new card, guys, that I built. I bought specifically for this build. We got a little mint. Survival the Fittest, guys, and that's just, again, being able to discard a creature card, which fills up our graveyard, to search for a creature card, put it in my hand. Pretty cheap ability, cheap mana. I mean, yeah, it does everything that we're trying to do in this deck for the most part, guys. Fill up our graveyard and get powerful creatures. Get the creatures that we want into our hand. Oh my God, guys. This card right here, holy hell, Plumb the Forbidden. Yeah, I had... It was in the one game that I played, somebody unfortunately had a creature in play. I think it's I forget what set. It's from a recent set. It's like Yarnish or something. It's green and white, but it allows you to ramp essentially, but also has a second ability. I think it's like a 4/4 or something like that. Like, it has a second ability that says like opponents can't sacrifice creatures to cast spells or to activate abilities, and just completely shut down this card. And there was a point where I had a bunch of creatures in play with a Blood Artist and another card that pinged whenever a creature died, or that taxed the opponent whenever a creature died. And I couldn't sack, and then the Cyclonic Rift was played, and I couldn't sack everything in response to the Cyclonic Rift, which would have been epic. It would have ended the game essentially, because I couldn't do that. It was a major bummer. But this card just makes so much sense for this deck. And again, sorry for you guys if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll read this. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice one or more creatures. When you do, copy the spell for each creature sacrificed this way. So you can draw a bunch of cards, sack your whole board. I mean, you do lose a little bit of life, but at the same time, I mean, if you have a Blood Artist in play, or another card that drains your opponent and also gives you life, it kind of cancels out, and you get to draw a bunch of cards at the same time. And it's instant speed too. So this is just a perfect card for this deck, in my opinion, guys. So Plumb the Forbidden. Okay, we got some more lands, some swamps here. We got a little Marshflats, Box Topper from Zendikar Rising. Got Command Tower, Vault of Champions. Got our Soul Ring. Got our Triome. So we got our lands here, guys. Start stacking up. Now we'll get to our second last pile to go through. So we got Razeketh, the Foulblooded guys. Yeah, I mean, just another sack outlet, powerful creature to bring back from Nethroi or through some other graveyard recursion. Being able to search for a card or a demonic tutor on a creature is powerful. Cool card too. A little flavor there with the Liliana and so forth. So start stacking up these cards up here. Beledros Witherbloom, guys. Again, like, this is just, I haven't really seen many builds or Nethroi builds with this guy. But I mean, it's just, again, being able to untap all your lands, pay 10 life. I mean, it creates little 1/1 creatures and so on, these little pests. And then once the pest dies, you get the Bastion Remembrance trigger or a Blood Artist trigger, or enter the battlefield trigger. I mean, it's just, cool card, you know. I mean, it's 4 power, even though it does cost 7. So if you can recur it from Nethroi, I mean, it's definitely worth it. Elesh Norn, just a cool card to recur from the graveyard, guys. And all the pests get +2/+2. If you have a bunch of pests in play, or a bunch of like smaller creatures with strong enter the battlefield triggers or sack outlet triggers, and it's just a bomb card and only 4 power too. So definitely a good a target for Nethroi, because again, Nethroi is only focused on the creature's power, the total power. So Elesh Norn, again, this is the one. This is from the mystery booster. Callous Bloodmage, this was like a last minute addition, guys, just because it's multifaceted. I mean, I can exile target opponent's graveyard. I can create a pest token. I can draw a card and lose a life. So it's got these enter the battlefield triggers. It is 2 power. I kind of wish it was only 1 power, but it's multifaceted, and it pretty much does everything that the deck is trying to do. Ramunap Excavator. We have lands in our graveyard. We want to play them. So sure, our Cradle card, essentially. Deathrite Shaman, multifaceted. It can be our, we can exile annoying cards from opponents' graveyards. Can gain some life. We can tax our opponent. Again, multifaceted, 1 power, either black or green drop. I mean, powerful creature. Fiend Artisan, sack outlet. Typically, there's a lot of creature cards in our graveyard. It can be a bomb. Only costs 2 mana. I mean, it's, kind of made perfect sense to throw into this deck. Ranger Captain of Eos, again, being able to search up a card for 1 or less, a creature card when it comes into play, put in your hand. So we go for, there's a lot of different 1-drops that we can search up for and so on. And also the second ability to sacrifice him to make sure your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. Ranger Captain of Eos. Assassin's Trophy for some removal. We got Dam for our board wipe, and also some spot removal if not. Some more lands. We got Windswept Heath. We got the Cabal Coffers with the Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth combo. Got our Living Death guys from Tempest. So we got our set aside all creature cards in all graveyards. Then put each creature card that is in play into these owner's graveyard. So it's like you take everything from your graveyard, you put it into a pile, you wipe the board, then you put each creature card that was set aside from your graveyard into play. So it's like pretty much exchange what's in play with your graveyard, which is pretty cool. And typically, again, we have a lot of cards in our graveyard, so it works perfectly. Grist, got a little Grist with the sketched artwork. Kind of looks like I drew this. I'm just kidding, guys. But again, being able to pull Grist from your graveyard using Nethroi's Mutate ability, because as long as Grist, the Hunger Tide, isn't on the battlefield, it's a 1/1 insect in addition to its other types. So being able to put a 3 loyalty Planeswalker into play with and only taking up 1 total power from Nethroi, powerful combo, guys. Just saying. The only Planeswalker in this deck. There she is, guys. We got our Blood Artist. This is from the original, from Avacyn Restored. Guys, I mean, this ever a creature or another creature, again, so that's any creature in play. Opponents as well, dies, target player loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So a bunch of triggers. If you sack all your creatures, you sack a creature to trigger. Just makes too much sense not to have this card in this deck. Does everything as we're trying to do. Now we got some ramp creatures, guys. So we have Avacyn, Avacyn's Pilgrim. Sir Conrad the Grim. Again, just a fun card, guys, especially because of the abilities. I mean, I kind of wish the power was down so it can be more of a palatable target for Nethroi, but let's just read through what this guy does from Throne. Another one of those overpowered Throne cards. So whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. So when you recur from Nethroi, you're going to get a bunch of stack triggers, and then whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield. So, for example, if you cause your opponent to discard a card or they mill, because there's this mill ability on the bottom where you can, again, each player puts a top card labyrinth in their graveyard, then everyone takes damage, you know? So it's definitely a powerful taxing effect that is overlooked. And the guy kind of looks like Stannis Baratheon, you know, from Game of Thrones. If there's any Game of Thrones fans out there. But anyway, guys, Sir Conrad, Mesmeric Orb. This card is freaking awesome. This card should be, in my opinion, in every Nethroi Apex deck build, because whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller mills a card, you know? So you fill up your opponent's graveyard, you fill up your graveyard. I mean, unless you're playing against like Muldrotha or something like that, which would be kind of bad. This card is solid, you know? So Mesmeric Orb, being able to help fill your graveyard and being able to fill your opponent's graveyard at the same time. Okay, we got Razor Verge Thickets, or a little box topper from Zendikar. Fabler Elder, again, just Throne of Eldraine, overpowered commander card for the most part. Tap for 2 mana, sometimes tap for 3 mana. Great card, Treefolk, Fabler Elder. Molder Vine Reclamation, guys. Yeah, just if you're going to sack your creatures, why not be able to draw a card and gain a life at the same time? So whenever a creature you control dies, gain a life, draw a card. Powerful enchantment, guys. And we got our recently pulled this, guys, on my channel from the insane collector box opening from Modern Horizons 2. So we got a Verdant Catacomb, Shooting Star Foil. And now let's get to the last part of this video, guys. So we got Grizzly Salvage here, a little instant to fill our graveyard to find a creature or land. Grizzly Salvage. We got a Plains, Cultivate for ramps. We got a Sorcery. We got a Mana Confluence. More lands. We got Angel's Grace for our, sort of Teferi's Protection, alternate. So being able to sort of prevent somebody from killing us instantaneously. It's got that split second trigger or ability, which is always a powerful ability to manipulate the stack. Savannah, a little nice dual lands. We've got Yawgmoth, Thran Physician, another sack outlet, being able to proliferate as well. Discard cards. Again, and you can do this multiple times because you don't have to tap them and so on. Just a powerful Powerful card, guys. Multifaceted, does pretty much everything that this deck is trying to do. Being able to have a sack outlet and then proliferate and so on. So Yawgmoth, again, just fun card. We got the Dean, Valentine, Dean of the Vein. Have not played this guy yet, but a 1/1. Whenever if a non-token creature opponent controls will die, I can exile and pay 2 and create a pest token. And then there's another ability on the back, guys. Let's see what we got here. Or it's one of those modal cards. So we got the Lizette, Dean of Root. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain trample until end of turn. So we got, again, just the newer card I wanted to try out. Sort of fits the pest, somewhat of the pest theme in this deck, guys. So that's Lizette and the other Dean. And we got Altar of Dementia, guys. Involved in an infinite combo, this card as well, being able to fill our graveyard and so on. This makes too much perfect sense not to have this card in the deck. We got some Twilight Mire, some more lands. We got our Hermit Druid, another card I picked up specifically for this deck, guys. And the ability of this guy is you can pay a green. Well, it's a 1/1 for 2. Pay a green and tap it. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a basic land card. And there's a good amount of basic lands in this deck, guys, but there's not a ton. So you can essentially fill out, if you don't have a basic land, you can fill out your graveyard pretty easily, guys. And then give yourselves more options for Nethroi to recur and so on. So Hermit Druid, Austere Commands, again, multifaceted board wipe to destroy. Also, so it's not an exile. We can take out enchantments, we can take out artifacts, destroy big creatures, destroy small creatures, get the triggers and so on, or the death triggers, or enter the graveyard triggers. Saffi Eriksdotter, Human Scout. So this card is involved in an infinite combo. And yeah, guys, it's just a powerful card. 2 drop, 2 power for Nethroi and so on. We got our Dance of the Dead. So take target creature card from any graveyard and put it directly into play under your control. Tap with a 1/1 counter. So we got a little Ice Age, going back to Ice Age. Treat the creature as though it were just summoned. That creature does not untap during its controller's untap phase. At the end of his or her upkeep, its controller may pay an additional 2 to untap it. And if Dance of the Dead is removed, bury the creature in its owner's graveyard. Gotta love the artwork on that. I think it's so cool, guys. Just the flavor and so on. Another way to pull a creature from a graveyard, any graveyard, which is really cool. So definitely a fun ability. So we got our Marshflats, Box Stabber from On Horizons, Silent Clearing, Pestilent Cauldron. This was like a last-minute addition as well to the deck, guys. So you can, again, there's multifaceted ability. You can discard a card to create a pest token, which when it dies, you gain a life. You can mill. You have each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. And then exile 4 target cards from a graveyard to draw a card. Multifaceted ability, and also on the sorcery, on the other side, the sorcery ability, you can essentially mill and fill out your graveyard as well. For sake of time, we won't go through that though, but definitely check out Pestilent Cauldron. Bane of Progress, 2 power, 6 drop, but it comes into play, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. So again, this is definitely something you want to use Nethroi's mutate ability on to bring him into play, and then wipe out all the artifacts and enchantments and so on, and make him a big boy for instead of having to pay the 6 mana. So Bane of Progress, cool card. And we're down to Mythos of Nethroi. Again, some spot removal, guys. It's destroy. It's more for flavor, guys. I mean, there's definitely some better options instead of this, but yeah, I just wanted to give it a shot. Again, this deck is not necessarily, I would say, CEDH level compared to some of the other decks that I put together. It's more to meet like the more for fun, and also to be appeased by my play group as well. So again, not necessarily the most overpowered removal, but spot removal nonetheless. And then Culling Ritual, more removal, guys. Again, being able to take out all non-land permanents with value mana 2 or less, take out all those small artifacts and so on, those talismans and so on, Soul Ring, and then you can add a bunch of mana for each permanent destroyed this way. So cool card. But yeah, guys, that's the build. And I got some pest tokens here on the side, going to create those pests. But yeah, guys, it's maybe just to go through some of the infinite combos. So with either the altars, So we got Ashnod's Altar and Altar of Dementia. We have some combos with, let's get, 1 second, let's get some of these creatures. Where's our Revelark? In just 1 second, guys, bear with me. So we got our Revelark and our Karmic Guide. So we have infinite combos with either the Altar or the Ashnod's, or either the Altar of Dementia or Ashnod's Altar. Also have with Altar of Dementia and Revelark and Saffi Eriksdotter, where are you? Infinite combo potential as well, or infinite combo ability as well. Aside from the Altar infinite combos and Karmic Guide, we also have infinite combos with, where's our Mothra and Viscera Seer, or a Sack Outlet, and Mikaeus. So being able to manipulate which death trigger and so on, and choose each time, infinite combo, essentially. What else? But yeah, I mean, so again, I wasn't building it to highlight the infinite combos, guys, even though there are quite a few. And I probably missed some as well, guys, so please, correct me if there's something here you guys see that I just completely missed. Because again, I was not focused specifically on the infinite combos. It's more just, it's a graveyard recursion meets stacks, meets my twist on playing fun cards from Ikoria for the most part. Ikoria is one of my favorite sets that has come out recently. I love the Godzilla flavor and so on. I love to open those collector boxes. I had so much fun doing that. That unfortunately was before I was on YouTube. But yeah, guys, Ikoria, you can see there's a lot of Ikoria flavor in this build and so on. But again, it's not completely, I could definitely play some more powerful cards and on the artifact side, as well as the enchantment or the removal side. I could focus more so on the combos and so on, and trying to make sure that happens. But I'm just trying to have fun, with Commander, I think that's what it's all about, is at least being able to do what your deck wants to do and allowing others to do what they want to do. And then at the end, you lay down the law and you beat them, so it's fun. There's definitely some cards that that were on the fence. I was thinking about adding potentially another drain life creature, like a Zulaport Cutthroat. Also potentially, so there's a card, Leonine Relic Worker, that could work well with some of the Animate Dead or Dance of the Dead enchantment creature, that could lead to an infinite combo as well. But yeah, like I said, guys, this deck I've only played with it once, but it was so much fun, and I cannot wait to play Commander again, because I'm definitely going to be using this deck for the foreseeable future. But yeah, guys, please drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll put the deck list in the description, the full deck list. This is my first pass at it, guys. I'm sure I'll be making changes. I'll let you guys know if I make any changes, and I'll when I do that, I'll update the deck list as well. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Like I said, I really had fun playing with Nethroi. It's fun being able to recur from your graveyard, fill up your graveyard, fill up your opponent's graveyard, have a bunch of triggers, and because then you make your opponent have to make decisions, especially if you have a Blood Artist on the battlefield, or that Bastion of Remembrance. If they have that board wipe but it's not exile, it's like they got to be careful, right? So it's fun sort of making your opponents have to walk on eggshells and so on. That being said, guys, yeah, there's just a lot of powerful cards to make this deck fun, and I feel like I guarantee the next time I play, it's going to be a completely different experience, even though the first time was absolutely a blast. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you guys posted, like I said, with the deck list when I make changes and so on. But yeah, I feel like we've already been, this video has already been going on for, 45 minutes, guys, a little way over 30 minutes. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I did. As always, please like, subscribe, with the bell icon, and we will catch you soon for the next MTG content related video. Take care, everyone.